So experts they are warning that the U.S. is approaching one of the most unstable times in history. And so a lot of you people who have been looking at the news and you've been believing that reopening the economy was a good idea, think again. Experts warn, warning, brace yourself, people. Urgent warning. The U.S. is approaching one of the most unstable times in history of our country. And so this was just in 12 minutes ago by Madeline Holcomb. With rising COVID 19 cases and hospitalizations sending many states backward in their reopening plans, one health expert warns that if the U.S. continues on its current path, it will reach one of the most unstable times in our history in this country. And so this is what was talking about, and I was telling you. So within this article, I'm going to be reading it, and I'm going to be telling you about my city, Los Angeles. It's already unraveling. It's already unstable. It was already unstable before the pandemic because we had the homeless crisis. And so we had the rent crisis. That was happening way before the pandemic. People were rent burdened. People were not really making enough to pay the rents. That's the reason why you see a lot of these protests talking about canceling rent. So the problem with the canceling rent thing is that it didn't cancel rent. So there's a lot of back rent that is owed and a lot of people that are going to be newly homeless. So that is one of the things that this country is going to see, and it's going to be really, really disastrous. And it's headed our way, and it's already started in some places, even as I speak now. And so they're not showing this, they're not talking enough about this, and this can also create more problems, more unstableness, more protest, more disease, more violence, and more mayhem. So we will have hospitals that are overwhelmed. Haven't we been seeing that gradually? The news does not really show as much of that. It is like overwhelmed to the point to where when you try to go to the hospital, you'll be in for a long wait or you won't be seen. Some of the hospital's top hospital people that are running those hospital wards are warning that they may even have to go into a scenario like Italy, how they have to turn people away and decide who lives and who dies. So people who haven't been taking this serious, or you're sitting back, relaxing, thinking your rent is going to be canceled, think again. They've already started setting up areas that are makeshift, big, huge shelters that look like FEMA camps. So it is going to really get bad in the next coming weeks, especially for Los Angeles. So hospitals that are overwhelmed are not only seen in terms of ICU beds and hospitals that are already filled to the brim, and that's bad, but they're exhausted hospital staff and hospital staff that's getting ill themselves. So Dr. Peter Holtz or Hotez, the Dean of Tropical Medicine at Baylor College of Medicine, told CNN on Friday night. So we won't have enough manpower, human power, to manage all of this. So that is another reason why they will be turning people away from hospitals. Hospitals you thought you could go to if you were sick, if you just caught the disease, you think again. Don't trust it. Don't trust the news, what they're telling you by just making you watch commercials and movies, and then they're showing you all these people. Black community, you're warned. Black and Hispanic community, Latino community, you are warned. Only 5 states saw a decrease at least 10% in average new daily cases over the past week. And the U.S. is set a record for the highest single day of new cases for the second time this week, with a total of 66,627 cases on Friday, according to the data from Johns Hopkins University. There have been more than 3,225,721 confirmed coronavirus cases in the U.S., Johns Hopkins University has said. So that's more than the population of 21 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico, according to the data from the U.S. Census Bureau. So at least 134,580 people have died from the complications of the virus. And so the resurgence has many local leaders returning to the actions taken March and April to slow the spread of the virus. So when they were rallying together and blocking streets and crowding restaurants and crowding streets and demanding to reopen the economy, a lot of those messages were mixed messages, and a lot of that was provoked because they were looking at some of our supposed leaders that were telling us how odd a mask looked, or how we shouldn't really worry about wearing masks, or you exercise your constitutional rights. Instead of worrying about protecting statues, you worry about protecting the people that live here that make the economy run. Now you're going to lose a lot of people because of these mistakes and these bad advice and these things that you've been telling people that have been confusing people and making people hurt other people that are innocent. And so at least 26 states have paused or rolled back their plans of reopening. You are warned. Let me say this again. Everyone is warned. Atlanta's mayor and Georgia's governor are at odds over the mayor's order Friday to send her city back to the phase one of its reopening plan. They are fighting right now whether to shut things down or keep things afloat and reopening. Reopening has been a horrible decision. It has been a horrible decision. The skyrocketing numbers of people that are contracting this virus is because of those horrible bad decisions. Citing an alarming increase in cases, Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms said residents are under this phase should leave the house only for essential trips, and restaurant and retailers must offer only to go or curbside pickup. So a lot of these places are going to be forced to close because of the conditions that we're under. Just yesterday, now I'm adding this in LA, it was like a ghost town in the downtown of Los Angeles. It's usually bustling, people are walking, sometimes elbow to elbow. You don't see that anymore. It is closed off. Even on the weekend, it is closed in some areas of downtown of Los Angeles. Governor Brian Kemp's office said that the mayor's plan is not legally enforceable because Kemp signed an order prohibiting local action from being more prohibitive than the state's requirements. So, to free the capacity for more testing and hospital care in a surge, Kemp reactivated a makeshift hospital Friday at the Georgia World Congress Center in Atlanta. So, anyone remember Hurricane Katrina? What happened when they had big warehouse makeshift shelters for people to go, how people were stealing from people, they were fighting, people's children got raped, women got raped, people got killed. So be on the alert. It is dangerous. These are dangerous times we are living in, and usually the people who are underserved, that are poor, that are people of color, are people who are in distress already before the pandemic, and now it's exacerbated. You are the people that need to be warned about this, and they're not telling you. So in Texas, Governor Greg Abbott renewed a disaster declaration first issued March 13th to mitigate the spread in his state, while Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer requested the extension of the National Guard's use through December for humanitarian missions such as running mobile screenings, distributing food, medical supplies, and disinfecting public places. Well, guess what? More than just Texas is going to have to do that. More than just the Michigan governor is going to have to make decisions like that. It's getting real. As they say, the shit is getting real. And so you are warned. It is dangerous times that we are treading on right now. They are hashing it out and battling on who should reopen and who should backtrack and who should be quiet. Even Trump is going head to head with some of the medical experts that have warned that this virus is spreading and spreading at rapid record speed. So all people who study the viruses think that the summer is the quiet time. Okay? Think about that. That is quiet time for coronavirus. Dr. William Haseline or Haseline or Hastine, a former professor at Harvard Medical School, told CNN on Friday, if this is the quiet time, I hate to think what winter is going to be like this year. Let me read that again. If this is the quiet time, I hate to think of what winter is going to be like this year. Let me tell you, people, it is already beginning. It is going to be chaotic. They're not telling you this, and they keep putting all this stuff on the news. They keep trying to throw shade about who's right and who's wrong. Listen, you need to prepare yourself for the worst because they hide this and they don't tell you there are going to be multiple people that are going to be out in the street and they're going to be desperate looking for food, looking for shelter. It is going to be complete chaos. Disney's World reopens as Florida cases and hospitalizations have soared. So even as Florida flirts with records for daily cases and soaring hospitalizations, one of the biggest tourist attractions reopened on Saturday. What a huge mistake. A huge mistake because the big fight is over whether to save the economy or save people's lives. The big fight is over whether to put people's backgrounds at the back burner, their culture, or to put the rich forward and exploit people that are poor and put them back to work in environments that are unsafe and not really safe from this disease and not safe from people who are making crazy decisions whether to kill people because they have a mask on or not. And so these are dangerous, dangerous times we are in, and they're not talking about it. I'm talking about it. So you guys need to be on alert. This is going to be crazy, and we're gradually slipping into this abyss of craziness during the pandemic. Disney World opened its Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom Park near Orlando to the general public for the first time since shutting down over this pandemic. The reopenings come with restrictions and adjustments, including capacity limits requiring pre-registration and temperature screenings. Bump that. If people are sick, sometimes the temperature screenings don't always work. Florida recorded, listen to this, 11,433 new COVID-19 cases on Thursday. It's the second highest count for one day that the state said on Friday, and hospitalizations are rising. A total of 7,063 people are hospitalized in Florida with COVID-19 as the primary diagnosis, the state's Agency for Healthcare Administration said Saturday. So that's an increase of 72 patients from the prior day. In Florida, Miami-Dade County, a county bus driver died after testing for positive of COVID-19, and more than 40 others tested positive in the last 3 weeks. The county transportation department said this. And so the driver who died was working in June before testing positive, department's spokeswoman Eileen Delgado said. By Friday, COVID-19 hospitalizations in the county had risen 74%. 70, that's more than half since June 27th. The county also has seen an 88% increase in the number of ICU beds. That's far too much, you guys. They're not talking about this, and you guys need to be warned. Warning, warning, warning. 123% increase. Who ever heard of such an increase? That's over 100% in the use of ventilators. That's to keep you breathing. And this, since then, according to Miami-Dade County government data. So there's going to be multiple people that are going to die. And they're not talking about this, and you guys need to be warned that they're not saying enough about this, and I'm saying something about it. In Pembroke Pines, in nearby Broward County, we are busting at the seams in the emergency room. Leah Carpenter, a nurse and a CEO of Memorial West Hospital, told CNN affiliates WPLG Friday, "My ICU is beyond capacity, but I have the ability to expand as needed," she said. They're fighting just to save people's lives or to keep beds so that people don't get turned away. That's how bad it is. So positive cases within Broward County Sheriff's Department of Fire Rescue went from 17 on Monday to 34 by Friday, said Jason Smith. So if you've been hearing a lot of the ambulances, listen to that, because it is going to get crazier and crazier in the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks. Won't even have time for months. So Jason Smith, the president of the International Association of Firefighters in Broward County, basically pointed this out. We're spreading it amongst ourselves, and people are significantly sick, very sick, Smith said in a letter to county leaders. So even the people who are frontline fire workers and EMTs are, and hospital care workers, doctors, people who are on ICU staff are warning, and they're not listening. They're not showing these hospitals. These EMTs said Saturday more than 1,000 contract workers will soon be sent around the state to boost coronavirus-related staffing, such as at new facilities that accept and treat only COVID patients for long-term care homes or to support testing. A record-setting day to end a record-setting week. The U.S. has set records for coronavirus infection and hospitalizations this summer, and this week has been no different. Georgia set a record for the number of cases in one day on Friday, with 4,484 new cases, according to the State Department of Health. The state's previous record was set on June 26. Also on Friday, the U.S. reported its highest number of new cases in one day for the second time this week. The previous record for the U.S. was set just one day earlier. Several states set their own records. Texas reported 10,351 new cases on Saturday, topping the previous record of 10,028 set July 7th, according to the Department of State of Health Services. There have been 10,083 patients hospitalized statewide due to the virus, with only 930 ICU beds available on Saturday. South Carolina on Saturday reported 2,239 cases from the day earlier, breaking the previous daily high by 300 cases. Louisiana Department of Health reported 2,642 new cases on Friday, making it the highest day of new cases since the pandemic started again. On Saturday, Governor John Bel Edwards announced a statewide mask order. California, which has held the rank as one of the hardest hit states, continued to set records in coronavirus hospitalization and ICU rates this week, with over 6,000 patients being treated. Wisconsin reported 926 new cases Saturday, breaking the record set the day before, the State Department of the Health Services said in a tweet. And so hospitals are stretched thin. Hospitals' capacity, a concern in many places when the pandemic first broke out, is being raised as a pressing issue once again. An ICU nurse at the Banner Health in Arizona said the staff and the coronavirus ICUs, 3 ICUs at the hospital where she works, are already stretched thin. And now we're kind of at the point where they're stretched so thin that we are at the point compromising patient safety. Lauren Leander told CNN on Thursday. It's a familiar story in Riverside County, California. 10 out of 17 hospitals are at the above 100% capacity in the licensed ICU beds. County spokesperson Brooke Federico said. And so this is what experts warn: the U.S. is approaching one of the most unstable times in history of our country. And so listen to this warning. If you are looking at programs on TV and you think that this is real, think again. You were warned.